Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Then let's see how can we open the Python interpreter. Right now, if you type py in Windows computer, right now it will open the Python interpreter. Here you can do some basic mathematical operations. See, like as you can try out some basic operations. Right now, if you in order to exit, you have type exit method, or you can press Ctrl C to exit. Right now, that is how you can work with the Python interpreter. Right now, also we can use a notepad, and then using a notepad file also. Right now, we can write our Python code, and um, thereafter we can feed this into the Python interpreter, and then we can get the output. Right. So remember, in other programming languages, right now we have brackets. We use curly brackets to define the scope of each line or each method. Likewise, but in Python, we don't have brackets to define the scope. So by using the indentation only, we represent the scope. Therefore, the spaces you keep and each line is what you call as the indentation. So indentation is very important in this Python. Right now, at the beginning here, we are not using any codes where we have to keep the indentation. So here at this level, we don't have to worry about that. But later on, we need to make sure we keep the indentation. Right. Let's say now, if you want to do something, we use print method. We use print method, and inside the print method, we can pass the any string we want to print. Let's say if you want to print hello world, right now you can type print inside the brackets. You can pass it as a string hello world, and you can save this. Right. When you're saving the file, make sure. Let's say in my desktop, I have a folder called day one, and inside the day one folder, I want to save my file as okay, code.py. The Python extension is py, so code.py. Therefore, remember the save as type should be all files. Remember code.py. I'm going to name this as code.py. Code.py. The save as type is all files. Now, once I save it, you can see in your desktop right now, in my desktop, right? Yes. I have a folder called day one. Inside the day one folder, I have Python file called code.py. Right. Now, it's matter of feed this into the interpreter and see how the answer, what is the answer. So, what you're going to do is, now here the command prompt is in C uses G1. Simply, C uses G1 in the sense here we are at this folder. Right. Now I'm in this folder. Command prompt is here, right? See, if you want to get into the now, let me show you the files available here as well. Right now, you can see here by typing dir, you can see these files are there. Right now, Android, cache, .NET, Gradle. Likewise, you can see the same set of variables are there. And here you have variable folder called desktop. And in this desktop folder, we need to get into the desktop folder. This is the folder, and inside there I have a folder called day one. I need to get into the day one folder. That is where I have the Python code. So I want to change the directory to the desktop. Right now I'm in the desktop. Right. So if Now again, if I check what's in the desktop, right now you can see here in the desktop you have these folders. So I want you to get into this day one folder. So type cd day one, and by doing so, we would be able to get into the day one folder. And if you type dir, there also you can see what's available inside. There you will see there's a file called code.py. That's a file. Size is 23 bytes. So you will be able to see the file. Right now, this is our Python file, Python script we can say. Now it's matter of right now it's matter of executing this. So in order to execute, Python use an interpreter. So we need to interpret. Right now, in order to do that, we can invoke the Python interpreter by using py space file name dot py. Right now, this is how you get the output. Right now, this is the code we have written. Right now, this is what the output we got. Right. Now, when you're doing so, you may require, sometimes there may be requirements for you to have a comment right now in order to have a line for your reference, in order to keep for your reference right now. Or sometimes you don't want this line to execute. You want to ignore this line. You want to ignore this line. Let's learn Python right now. I want to ignore the first line, hello world. So what I need to do is you need to put the hash symbol in front of it. Right now, if you don't put the hash, what happens? Right now, both lines get printed, right? Hello world. But now, you feel like the first line, you don't need it anymore. So you put the hash symbol. You put the hash symbol right now. So you won't get, this line will get ignored. This line will get ignored. Therefore, this is the Python interpreter will ignore this line. So you could use this as a comment. Now you can um, use print method, use print method to print. Use print method to print. Likewise, you can have it. Right. So this is how you can have a comment right now. Therefore, whatever you have here, it doesn't matter because interpreter will ignore that particular line. So those that will get ignored. So you don't have to worry about that at all. That will be ignored. Right. It won't get interpreted. Right. Right. Sometimes you may require to use, okay, not only one line. You may want to have multiple lines. If you want to have multiple lines as a comment, right now, either you can use the same thing like this, use double quotes, represent string. All right, now, likewise, you can have, let's say these lines you want to ignore. Use single quotes, represent a string. Likewise, string. Use double quotes to represent a string. We'll have it like this. Three single quotes. Three double quotes. Right now, you can use like this in order to represent as a string. Now those will get ignored. Right now, if you feel like now, this is right now, if you have multiple lines, 10 lines and so on, All right, putting hash symbol in front of every line. If it is difficult, then don't worry at all. Just represent it as a string. Right now, we can make it as a multi-line string. That means without referring it to anything, you could do it like this. Then there will be a problem now. Okay, what is the problem now? Here, now I'm okay. What would be the problem? Right now, if you do it like this, now what would be the problem?
There's already two extra triple
Yes,
quotation marks.
when it meets this one, it will treat it as okay. Now, this is starting and this is the end. So there will be a problem here. Therefore, here you can't have this line. So you can have three single or double quotes. Three single quotes. We'll have letters. First two represents right. Okay, now like this we can have it. Now that is how you can have a multi-line commits. Right now, if there's a certain set of codes that you don't want to execute, yes, you can make it as a multi-line comment. Or if you want to have your own note, then also you can have multi-line commits. Right now, we know about the basics right now. Let's say in Python, right now we may have to store values temporarily, and then we need to represent those values, and we have to perform multiple what do you call operations. Right now, first of all, we need to find out what are the variables and how to declare the variables. Right. So now variables are used to store values, right? So I want you to figure out what are the values, what are the data types, or what type of values you want to store, or what type of values we can store in a Python code, and also what are the types we can use, right? What are the type of values? Now, for an example, maybe letters, maybe numbers. Likewise, there may be different things you want to store. I'll give you a few minutes. Please quickly figure it out and tell me what are the type of values and the type of data types available in Python for variables. Quickly figure out and send me via chat quickly. You may have to save numbers. You may have to have text values. What else? Yes. And basically, you may have to save true, false values, right? We may have to save true or false values. Right. Now, true, false values. Right. Now, Python supports for different file types. Then there are different data types available in Python. Right now, you have text types, numerical types, sequences, mappings. Like now, the sets. Likewise, we have different data types available. Right now, at the beginning, the basically, you can have text types, strings. Text types, we call it as strings. In Python, we call as string. And numbers, we have integers, whole numbers. Whole numbers are integers. And the decimal numbers. Decimal numbers, we call it as floating points, floats. And then there may be numbers with imaginary parts. There are some numbers with imaginary parts. For an example, square root of -1. That is an imaginary number. Or a number has an imaginary unit, imaginary part. Then those you call as complex numbers. Right now, Python supports for integers, floats, and complex numbers. Right then, um, Python has Boolean data types as well. Then bools or Boolean data types. Then Boolean types supports for true or false value. Right. Now these are the different data types as we know already. Right now, Booleans. Right. Now, okay. Now these are the types. And also, if you can remember, the last day we discussed something. How, okay, tell me how we declare a string variable. how you can decide the type, how you can declare the type of the variable in Python. How? If you want to declare a variable to store string values, then how do you declare a string variable? How do you declare a string variable? Anyone?
By placing the value of the variable in between quotation marks.
Yeah, that is how you represent. Yes, 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 that's correct. Now I'm asking, okay, how do you design or declare? How do you declare a string variable right now? For an example, if it is Java, then you say string name. That is how you declare the variable, the type, how you declare the variable type, string name. Right, now this is how you do it in Java. But in Python, how do you declare variable type? Or variable type is decided based on what? Yes, now you should
So is it using the str function?
is it using the
Str function.
no. Now remember in Python, the type of the variable is decided at the assignment. When you assign a value to a variable, the type of the variable is decided. If you assign a string value, the type become a string. If you assign integer value, type become a integer. Likewise, then remember very importantly, the variable type is decided at the time you assign a value to a variable. Variable type is decided at the time you assign a value to a variable. Okay. Right now, right. Now we know the data type is very important, but the type of a variable is decided at the time you assign a value to the variable. Right. Then we have to talk about how to declare an identifier. Right now, if you have a variable, you have to have a name to access the variable, then to identify, then we call it as an identifier. Right now, if you have variables, there should be a unique name to refer to the variable, so that we need to have an identifier. So in order to uniquely identify, you need to have an identifier defined for a variable. Right now, identifiers. Right now, there are rules in Python, in every programming language, when you are declaring a variable name. When you are declaring a variable name, there are rules. Right now, sometimes you may have seen in most of the time you use variables like x, y, z, I, j, likewise then x equals 10, y equals 50. Likewise, then you may have seen right now commonly used variables like single letter variable names. Right, only one letter use x, y, z, I, j. Likewise, you use letters as the variable names. Sometimes you may have seen variable called sum, right? Variable called total, variable called count, total sales, right? Likewise, you may have seen descriptive names also used in variables, right? So I recommend you to always use the descriptive names, right? Then it is easier for you to refer the code later on. Right now, sometimes we use short letters, short codes or the letters just to refer the variables. But sometimes we use the descriptive names. Therefore, every time whenever it is possible, try to use the descriptive names for the variables, right? Now, when you are declaring a variable in Python, there is no way to declare variable first. Therefore, you can't declare variable and assign the value later, cannot do in Python. Because in Python, variable is created and the type is decided at the time you assign a value to it. When you assign a value to a variable, the variable type and the variable is decided. Variable created and type is decided at the time you assign a value to it. Therefore, you can't declare variable with any specific type beforehand because the type of the variable is decided at the time you assign a value. Based on the value you assign, type of the variable get decided, right? So keep that in your mind. Now we'll see what are the rules we have to follow in order to declare a variable name. There are certain set of rules that you need to follow in order to declare a variable name. Right now, as I said, variable name could be a short name or a descriptive name, right? Therefore, always try to use the descriptive names, right? Then again, I ask you to search about. Right now, for an example, you may have the words right now, variables to store daily average sales or daily average attendance. Likewise, then you have multiple like the meaningful name you want to save, but then the word we have multiple words connected together in a variable. Right now, in such scenario, how can we represent? How can you write the names? Because you can't have spaces. No? You can't have a space. Like if you want to have a variable called daily average sales, likewise, then you can't have spaces in the variable. So there's something called, I want you to quickly search about camel case, and Pascal case, camel case, Pascal case, and snake case, and also kebab case. Right, quickly search about Pascal, camel, snake, and kebab, and how each case used to represent multiple words together. And let me know example with each. I want you to send me a chat message. Quickly search about these, and then from each case, write as example, and then send me via chat. Quickly do it. Now, what is the snake case? Right now, the camel case, yeah, if you have multiple words like this, if you want to have in camel case, you need to have the first word in simple letters and no spaces, the second character, first character of the second word, and the rest of the words in capital. The Pascal case, right now, in Pascal case, every word, first character in capital letters, like every word, first character in capital letters. And the snake case, you use right now underscore to connect daily average underscore sales. Right now, the kebab case here, we can't use it in Python because it is not a valid identifier, valid character to use. So we have to use a hyphen. We have to use hyphen in order to combine the multiple words. Right now, Right now, remember, this is how you could do it, but the kebab case we cannot use. Like now, remember when you have multiple words together, combined together in a variable name, you can use either camel case, Pascal case, or snake case. Then let's see what are the rules available. Right. A variable name must start with a letter, O underscore. Must start with letter O the underscore. That means you can only start with letter O underscore. Variable name may contain letter, number, O underscore. Letter, number, O underscore. Variable names may contain letters, numbers, O underscore. Right. Or in other terms, you can say alphanumeric characters plus underscore. And this is case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive and cannot use keywords. There are Python keywords, reserved keywords, then you can't use variable names as one of the Python keywords. Right now, for an example, what are the Python keywords? You know, right now, there are some operators called and you have class is a keyword, and def, define and delete is a keyword. If else, except, try, false, true. Likewise, there are some keywords available. Then you don't have to worry about the keywords, because when we learn Python, eventually we will get used to the keywords. So remember, when it comes to Python variable naming conventions, you must follow these rules. That means must start with the letter O underscore and cannot start with the number. So you have to either start with letter O underscore and cannot start with the number. Then variable name may contain letters, numbers, O underscore, and it is case sensitive and it cannot use keywords. Right? It cannot use keywords. It cannot be a keyword. Cannot be a Python reserved keyword. Right. Cannot be a Python reserved keyword. Right. Now, let's try it out. Okay. Now, we'll have this in another. Right now, let's try out a variable. Let's say I have x equals 10, and I want to print the variable x. I want to print the variable x, and let's save the file and see. Now you can see the value of 10 assigned to the variable x, and then here x get printed. Let's say okay, x space y. I have x space y and a variable called x space y. Now I get an error saying it's syntax error, invalid syntax, right? You can't have spaces, right? Can I have underscore x underscore y? Now it is working, x underscore y. Right now, let's say number. I'm going to define it as a number, and number one number. Right, I'm going to assign a variable called one number. Right now, can I have this? Then I'm getting an error, invalid decimal literal, because you can't start a variable name with a number. Right, can I start with the underscore? Right, likewise, I'm going to try this one now. Yes, I can start with an underscore. Right, likewise, you can try. Now, Right now, okay, now I want you to tell me whether which of these variable names are valid or not. If I have name age underscore one underscore age underscore dollar name. Right now, I want you to label these 1, 2, 3 likewise and send it to me via chat whether those are valid or invalid. Via chat, please. Reason as well. I want the reason. If it is name, if it is valid, valid. If it is invalid, the reason. Right? I want the reason as well. Right, then the answers are, let's see, the first one, name. What do you think? Is it possible? Valid or not?
Valid, sir.
Valid, yes, valid. 8BE underscore 1.
Valid.
Is it valid?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. The first one is valid, name is valid. Variable name AB underscore, that is also valid because you have used the letters, started with letters, and you have only letters, underscore, and numbers. So it is valid. Right. What about the third?
Invalid, sir.
What is the third one? What do you think? One
Invalid.
underscore age.
Is
One.
invalid.
Invalid, sir.
Starts with a number.
Why it is invalid?
Start with the
Starts with
number.
number.
Started with a number. Yes, you can't start with a number. Therefore, you can't. You have it says no. Must start with letter underscore. Therefore, you cannot start with a number. So this is invalid. Right. Underscore temp.
Valid, sir.
Okay, let me have this and then we can cut it out. This is valid because of this reason. Underscore temp, is it valid?
Yes, sir.
Valid, sir.
Okay, this is wrong. Yes, this is correct. Oh no, we'll cut it down one line. No? Okay. This is correct. Dollar name.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid, sir.
Why it is invalid?
Start with the
symbol, and
special
symbols are not
special character.
Yes, you can't
Special
start with
characters are not
dollar sign.
symbols.
Only allowed characters are underscore. Hash name.
Invalid.
Invalid,
Hash
sir.
name invalid. Yes. You can't start with hash symbol. Right. Then max hyphen val.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid,
Hyphen
sir.
is not allowed.
Invalid.
Yes, sir.
Hyphen is not allowed.
Why?
Hyphen.
Hyphen. Yes. Mean $val.
Invalid.
Invalid. You can't use the $sign. Is it 1?
Valid.
Valid. Is it 2? 2Z.
Invalid.
Why?
Starts with a number, sir.
Start with a number.
You can't start with a number. Underscore.
Valid.
Valid, sir.
Huh?
Valid.
Valid.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? Others? Underscore. Underscore. Valid or not? Yes, underscore is a valid character. Yes. Underscore is valid. Yes. Right. Now A. Only A.
Valid, sir.
Valid. 1.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid. Class.
Invalid.
Keyword.
Keyword.
Why?
Keyword.
Class is a
While
keyword.
also keyword.
While.
While also keyword.
Keyword.
Keyword. Yes. Family space name.
Space is
Invalid, sir.
invalid, sir.
Sorry.
Invalid.
Space.
Why is it?
Space,
Space.
sir.
Yes. Space. You can't have spaces. New hyphen score.
Invalid.
Hyphens are not allowed, sir. It's invalid.
Reason.
Hyphen.
Hyphen. Min at sale.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid.
Reason.
At.
Special character at.
At sign. Yes. At cost.
Invalid,
Invalid,
sir.
sir.
Invalid. Okay. Sales.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid, sir.
Why?
Special
Apostrophe.
character
Yes.
quotation.
Cost question mark.
Invalid,
Invalid.
sir.
Valid, right?
Invalid, sir.
Invalid, sir.
Invalid. You can't have the question mark. Yes, great. Okay, I hope now you have an idea. Remember, when you are declaring the variable names, follow these. You have to start with letter O underscore. Variable names may contain letters, numbers, O underscore. It is case sensitive, right? Simple X and capital X are two different variables, right? And it cannot be a Python, PyTHO in Python reserved keyword, right? Okay. And right. Okay, we were talking about having only underscore equals 10. And let's print underscore only. Right now, let's see whether what's gonna happen. Right now, you can see only Python, it is only underscore, it is working. Therefore, only underscore is also a valid variable name, valid identifier. You call it as an identifier. Right now, we know about the variable identifiers, and then when you have multiple words in a variable name, how to have multiple words, you can use either camel case, Pascal case, or snake case. Right now, we have discussed about that as well. Right now, let's see how to assign values to variables. And let's see right now, if it is a text type, right now, if it is a text type. Now, if you want to assign a string, now text type supported by string. If it is a string, you need to represent using either, either you can use single quotes or double quotes or three single quotes or three double quotes. Right now, this is how you can represent a string. Right, name, let's say we can have Jane Doe, single quotes, Jane Doe. Right now, we can have name Jane Doe, print name. Right now, let me have the same thing. Single quotes, we can have double quotes. Jane, let's say Jane single and Jane double. And three single quotes. Jane three single. Three single quotes and Jane three double quotes. Jane three double. right now that is how you can represent a string values in Python. Right now you can, if you want to represent a string, remember either you can use single quotes at the end and at the beginning, and double quotes, or three single quotes, or three double quotes. Now this is how you can represent a string in Python. That is how you can represent a string in Python. Try out. Let's say name. Right now, if you want to print multiple variables together, now you can see. Now here F name Jane, L name Doe, city New York. Now you can print separately F name, L name, and city. And if you want, you can print by separated by comma. Then it prints Jane Doe New York. See here. And then if you want to append your text as well, then you can say Jane Doe is from New York. Right now, here, what's the difference between these two? I want to figure out. What's the difference between these two lines?
The first line, sir, it lists out
Sorry?
individual values and separates them. Second one, it adds together the characters of the variables.
Here you can see here. Now here Jane space Doe space New York here you have. But here the spaces are missing. Therefore, if you use the plus operator to output multiple variables together, right? So this would be like this. So the space here, you don't see the space. But if you use the separated by comma, then there will be a space for between each variable. See Jane space Doe space New York. Right now, that is how you can work with the variables. Right. Now let's see the data types of variables and how can we work with the variables. Right. Now we discuss about string data type. Now here we already discussed about the last time type method. Here today also just use the type method and see whether how the type changes, whether the if you use single quotes, double quotes, or three single quotes or three double quotes, whether the type changes. Figure it out. Now you can see all the three cases will give you the type as a string. Right now the type method is returning the type of the variable. So what you have to do is you need to pass the variable name inside the type method. If you pass the variable name inside the type method, the variable type will be displayed. Now for an example, just to try out, now we can have x equals Jane and we can have we can print the variable name and the type. Right now thereafter we can assign the values for this one, Jane and then 10, and later on we can assign inside this we can have 10. Okay, else we can have yes 10.5 and we can have 25.25J. Likewise, we can have no, right types. We can check the type. Now you can say the first one Jane. It says string. When you say 10, it says integer. When you pass 10 inside the double single quotes, it's taken as a string value. When you pass 10.5, they taken as float. When you say 25J, it taken as complex. And if you take it as a true, now this is an example for you to get an idea. Right now, when the values you assign, the type of the variable is decided based on the value you assign. Based on the value you assign, the type of the variable is decided. Right. Any questions up to now? Are you all okay?
All clear, sir.
Right. Okay. Now you know how to assign the string values, string variables, right? So please try with the number types. What are the number types right now? We know, right, when it comes to strings, right, the text, we can have number, we can have letters, and then in order to define a string, then we have to use this single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes, three single quotes, three double quotes, likewise. So we know the type method as well in order to figure out the type of the variable. Right now, there's another one method you can use with this, which you can call as a length, which you can use as the length method. Right now, try the length method and see whether what's going to happen when you use the length. Now it says when you use the length method, it says 4. Now it says 4. And try to store as name is Jane is Clark. Right now I want to display, like I want to have a word like this. Try out whether it is possible to save a variable like this. I want to save this text in a variable. So try out how to save this and then whether it works. Try out. right? How can you do it? How can you do it? Like now, I want to say this Jane is a clerk. Right now, if I do it like this, what will happen now? Error. Okay. Right now, what can we do? If we do it using double quotes, will it take? Then you can have it. Like now, since you have using a two string, represent the string using double quotes in the first scenario. When you start with the second one, it won't be a problem, right? Right now, this is what I want you to do. Like now, this is way of representing a string single quotes. But if you have started the single quotes and once you meet the single quotes here, then that string literally is end. So you can't have it again. That's why here I have used it double quotes, and inside the string I have used the single quotes. Right now, that is how you can have string. Right now, quotes can printing quotes inside the string as well. Printing quotes inside the string as well. Right, that's how you can do it. Right. Right. Then, right now, let's talk about the numbers. So, when it comes to number types, there are we discussed that the whole numbers, decimal numbers, and imaginary numbers are there. Then the whole numbers can be considered as integers. Like now, for an example, x equals 10, x equals 1. If you print the variable type of the variable x along with the type, right now it would be showed as an integer. Right now, if it is 1.5, now it would be showed as a float, and if it is 1.5 plus 5j or something, right now you will be taken, it will be showed as a complex number. Therefore, there are three number types, numerical types are there: integer, float, complex likewise. Then there are three numerical types in Python: integers, floats, and complex. Right. Now integers can have only positive or negative whole numbers without decimals. Then even you can have unlimited length. Right now, then this would be enough for us to practice. Right now, you can see it will be taken as an integer. So integers will be taking as negative or positive whole numbers, right? And I can have unlimited length. Right, then floating point numbers we call as the decimal numbers, right? Floating point numbers is a decimal numbers, maybe positive, maybe negative, and may contain one or more decimals. One or more decimals with positive or negative value is called as the float numbers, right? And okay, sometimes you may heard about, right now, how can you 10 E3. What do you think? 10 E3. What would be the number? 10e3 would give you a float number. That means 10 to the power 3. E means the 10 to the power. So if you use 10e3, that would be considered as the power of 10, 10 to the power 10 to the power 3, like E. Right now, that means 1, okay, 5e3. Right now, if I have 5e3, 5000. 5 into 10 to the power 3. Right now, that's what E means. E indicates the power of 10. Right, then if it is, let's say, minus 1.5 e to the power 2, what will it represent? Right. Then minus 1.5 into 10 to the power 2, which is 100. Minus 1.5 into 100 become minus 150. Even if you can use simply or capitally, also you could use, right? That is E represent the power of 10, right? So that is also considered as a float number, right? Now 1 plus 1j, like let's say if it is j is available, that is what you call as a complex number. Our complex number means a number with an imaginary part. Right now, if there's a number with an imaginary part, then you call it as a complex number, right? Right now, I have problem now. Let's say I have a 10 stored as a string, right? I want to take it as a integer. Right now, there are certain methods. Right now, there's a method called string. We have integer. We have float. We have complex. Likewise, we have methods which we can use to convert from one type to another type. Now, for an example, if we have x equals 5 and if you have x equals 5 and then you want to, let's say, now if you print the x and type, it would print 5 and string. No? Right now, if you do it like x equals strx, x equals strx now, and if you print the type, now it will show you as a string. Now this x contains a string value. Right now, this is a string value. Now, if this string, if you want to convert, let's say now I have a variable called x equals 5 as a string. Now I want you to and y is equals 3. Right now, if I print like z equals x plus y, and if I print z, what do you think? What would be the answer? Will it work? Will it give me 8? Will it give me 8? What do you think? Right now it gives me 53. Rather giving 8, it gives me 53. So now the 53 also string. Right. So what I want you to do is I want you to figure out way to get me. Now these values are stored as string. So I want you to get the 8 as the answer. Try out and tell me how to get the 8. Okay, in first question, we have this and then we wanted to print 8, right? So let me put that here somewhere. Right now, this is what we wanted to do. X equals 5, y equals 3. And we want to get this thing. Right now, in like not 53, I wanted to have 8, right? So what you can do is here later on, if you want to, you can do it like now in the addition also you could do it. But here you could convert into an integer. and what you need to convert, which is x, and here we need to convert y. Right, then we'll be able to convert it into integer, and we will be able to get the answer as 8. Right, now that is the first one, and the second one was to swap, right? Okay, to swap, let's say we have a equals 5, b equals 10. I wanted to swap. Right now, can you send me the answers for that? Okay, right now someone has done it in this manner. T equals a. For the temporary variable, you have assigned a, and for the a variable, you have assigned b. Now, for the b variable, you can assign t value. Right now, we have temp variable, and first you assign the value of a to the temp variable, then you will replace a value by variable b value. Then for the variable b, we're gonna assign the temporary variable value. So now if you print, you're gonna get a and b. Here you can print ab, and beforehand also let's print ab. Right now you can see it gets swapped. Right now this is the traditional way of swapping the values. Right now I think one of you has sent me the way Python way of doing it. Right now, how can you do it in the Python way? Is it a different way? Python way? No, no. Right, let's see. Okay, then, right. Okay. You have AB. So, we can write A comma B equals B comma A. Right? A Python way of swapping. Right. Now, okay, before that, let's print the AB value. And let's, after that, also let's print the AB value. Right. Okay, see how easy it is to swap the values in Python way of doing it. Right. Right. Now this is way like in other programming languages, this is how we were doing it. Right now, this is the way of scripting languages. Now, how easy it is in like languages like Python. Right. What was the other question? Very easy one, no? Right now, you need to declare the variables for the following and name it city color and then assign the values and then print this one using multiple variables. Okay, um, quickly send me that answer via chat as well. Okay, try it quickly. Okay, is it the answer we got? No, sir. Will that work for three numbers? Yes, that is working for three numbers as well. C equals 15. Print ABC. ABC is equals to what do you want? CBA, CBNA. And if you want to print the ABC values, okay, let's delete this for a while. Save 5 and 15, 15, 10, 5. Okay. Nufe, right? You got it, right? Okay, the last one, my name is name, age. Okay. Let me copy one of your answers and then let's see. Right, okay. Okay, what does it say? Age as a string. Okay, why? Okay, why? Tell me why you have to do this. Why? Why is this required? Why is this required? If not, what happens now? It says now what you have done. You have used a plus operator. So only strings can be. Okay, that's not the reason. Now it says what the bracket was missing. I might have not copied the bracket. Is it? Yes. What is it? Okay, why are you doing this much of? Three single quotes, right? You are using, and here also three single quotes. Right now, what's the error? Now you are getting my name is name. My name is name plus.
Sir.
Here, let me have it clear. Separated. I am years old. I live in, and my favorite color is color. Right now, three single quotes here. Right.
So the reason I used the double quotations within the single quotations was because I thought the output had to come with the double quotations as well. Sir.
Sorry, Uday, I couldn't hear you. Can you wait? Let me check the speaker. Yeah, can you speak a little bit loud? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I put the single quotation before the double quotes because when I checked the question, I assumed that the output has to come with the quotation marks as well, sir. So if I had
Mm-hmm.
used if I had used the double quotation marks for the initial one, then it would have output in a weird way. Wouldn't have come with the quotation marks as well.
Okay, that means you need these double quotations as well. That's what you thought.
Yeah, that's what I thought, sir.
Okay, right, great. Right. Okay, now in this scenario, okay. Now, what makes you make this age variable into a string?
Because if I was to add the age variable without converting it to a string, so it would become a syntax error for you cannot add a string and an integer together. You cannot add a string and integer together.
Right, now let's see. Okay, now what happens now? Okay, can only concatenate, yes. Now, previously when I had three single quotes at the beginning and at the end, no matter what you have in between, everything considered as right now you can see a variable. So that's why we got the answers as my name is name, age is age, I live in city, city likewise, I got it. Right now, okay, now the problem here is now I have get rid of these double quotes now. So right now we are getting an error because when you try to append concatenate integer value which is age to a string variables, like now it gives you this error, type error, cannot concatenate string with integer, right? Therefore this is why the purpose of doing this, I converted to a string. Right now this would work, but rather doing this rather using plus operator, can you try using the comma separated values?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So I have recent the one with some commas integrated to it, but some of them, sir, especially the ones which have the commas which should be in the output, those ones I have to use plus marks. Otherwise, the commas would be what do you call appended
Right.
by one
Okay.
space.
Okay. Others also quickly try. Then I can explain it. Quickly try how to use multiple variables in one print line. Let's try out. Right. Now we discuss about changing the data type. That means converting a data type into a different type. Right. Right now, if you use integer method here, int method. Now remember, if you want to write down, if you use the integer method, and if you pass integer value here, that would construct the integer number from integer literal. If you pass 10.5, if you pass 10.5, which is a floating value, then it will remove the decimal values and it will construct the integer value. And if you pass 10.5j, a complex number, then let's try to convert 10.5j into an integer. Right. X equals 10.5j. And we are about to convert into a integer, a complex number to integer. Right. Now let's see whether it is possible. Right now you can say when you try to convert a complex number. Now what does it say? Argument must be a string, a byte-like object, or a real number, not a complex. So remember, you cannot now write down here right now using the int method here. You can convert string or a real number string or a real number. I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. String or a real number, maybe real number. Numbers only. Right, a string or a real numbers only. And if you use integer right now, that is the limitation or the thing you need to remember. Right now, if you try to convert into a, let's say, float, okay, float. Right now, first of all, I'm going to convert 10.5 string value into a float. 10.5 string value into a float. So that works. So, right now, here real number means integer or float, right? Int or float. Right now, string or string int or string. Okay, done. And let's say integer value 10. 10 become 10.0. Therefore, string done. Integer done. And yes, 10.5 obvious 10.56. Obviously, it could be a float value, right? The string int or float. What about complex numbers? Then you again get a must be a string or real number, right? Therefore, it could be a integer, float, or string. Integer, float, or a string. And integer string also should represent int of what? Huh? Otherwise, if it is a text, it can't. If it is a text, represent int of float. Right. Right. Then this is what integer, and this is how you can use it for float. Right now, I want you to try for complex and try for complex method and the string method. Okay, try out these and then tell me what are the limitations. Quickly send me the answer by checking the limitation. Quickly send me. Tell me quickly.
It cannot convert strings, sir.
Okay, when it comes to a string, right now, integer, float, and then let's see string. What about strings? When it is a string, can we convert numbers to? Okay, let's say can we convert? Right. Sorry. Float number, yes, float is possible. Can we convert integer? Right. That is possible. Can convert integer, can we convert string into a string? Yes, no worries that you can do. Then you can convert string, integer, or float only. Can we have complex numbers as well here? 10.5J. Yes, that goes to convert int. Okay, when it comes to string method, you can convert strings, integers, and floats, strings, integers, and floats, as well as int, float, int, string, int, float, or complex numbers. Numbers, right. Okay, now need to have, oh, okay, then what about the complex? Can we convert complex? What do you think about the complex? Can we have, let's say, complex into a complex number? Yes, that is possible. Float into a complex number. That is possible. Integer into a complex number. That is possible. And string in integer format. That is possible. String in float format. Possible. String in complex format. And string in text format. Then that cannot be done. Right. Then you can have string represent int, float, or complex. Integer, float, or complex numbers. Right, only. Now, that is about conversions. Right now, one more thing we have to do right now, we discuss about number types. Then we discuss about numbers, integer, float, complex, and thereafter we discuss about string types. And now, Booleans also we will discuss. Right now, Booleans. Boolean values represent a true or false value. Boolean values represent a true or false values. Right? True or false values. Therefore, you have bool method. Right? Now, if x equals true, and then if you print the type of the variable x, that would give you the type is Boolean. The type is Boolean. Now this is a Boolean. We can have true or false values, right? Now I want you to figure out whether if it is a true or false, can you, if you convert true or false into integers, what will happen? Or whether is it possible? Can you convert true or false values into float values, decimal values, or the complex numbers, or strings? Likewise, then check the variations what you can do, and likewise what we have written here. I want to write the limitations for the bools as well. Quickly figure out and tell me the bool function. What can you do? Whether which one will return true, which one will return false. Likewise, figure out and send me via chat, please. Complex number. Right now, this is how the bool method converts. Right now, bool method, we can say bool method converts any positive, negative, or string, any positive, negative, or string values, and true into true. True. And here, this is how the bool method converts, and converts 0, 0.0 or 0j, and empty string values, empty string values, empty string values, values, and false into false. Right, now that is what happens when it comes to bool method, right? Now, non-zero numbers into true, and you can say non-zero numbers, right? Any positive, negative, or non-zero number. We can have any non-zero numbers. Non-zero string values, and right. Okay. That is what the bool method does. Right, now we have discussed about data types. Under that we discussed integers, strings, and floats, and complex, and the booleans. Right, now next week we're going to discuss certain methods available for each method type. Right, each data type. And thereafter, today also we discuss about length method and the type method, and we'll discuss and the certain methods available for relevant data types, and we will discuss about the operators, Python operators and operator precedence. Therefore, if you can search about Python operators and operator precedence, and thereafter you can come. Then it will be easier for us to continue. Right. Any questions you can ask now? Other than that, we can wind up for today.